Uh, can you all hear me? Hello, everybody. I'm Zman Reviews. If you haven't seen my community posts, the thing I used for my Simpsons and Family Guy videos, the lives. Well, not live. Why did I say lives? Already made a mistake. Golly gee willikers. What I am doing, I use this site called Lube. Turns out it was only a free trial, so sadly, instead of continuing to use that, I now have to use just YouTube Live. So more than in those videos, I'm probably gonna make it it's probably not gonna be that good. I'm probably gonna make a lot of mistakes, but you know what? I want to make this channel like a free zone. Like, yes, I am still gonna be reviewing Flintstones, but we could talk. We could talk. I don't try to take my reviews like super seriously. Like, I don't try to view it like the deepest thing ever. So with that, let's take a look. Also, I have like 28 episodes of these things to review, so yeah. You sadly cannot see my screen, but don't worry, you're not missing much. I'm doing the same format as the Family Guy one. Story, favorite moments, all of that. Starting things off, we have Season 1, Episode 1, The Flintstone Flyer. Fred tries to enjoy his Sunday, but keeps getting interrupted by Barney making a machine. However, once the machine works, Fred tries to join him in the business. But when Fred tries to fly in it, he gets seriously injured, but is still determined to bowl. However, Fred realizes he and Barney gotta go to an opera with their wives, so they try to get away out of it. In terms of favorite moments, we have a Barney swinging with a golf bat, what do they even call golf things? Just, a golf bat. I'm going to call it, it's probably not right. I don't know golf. But not he doesn't hit the golf ball. That's the main joke. I also really like Fred trying to join in the business, even though it really was Barney's invention, not to be mean, Fred, but it was really Barney's thing. You're really being mean to Barney right now. How did I rate this first episode? Not great. It's a 3 out of 5. Yeah, not the best start. It's okay. It's watchable. I don't know. The plot didn't really grab me. I honestly have very little to comment on about this first episode other than it was watchable, but not really anything that interesting. The plot felt kind of basic, and it kind of just felt like they were just kind of bumming around for 20. It almost kind of felt like they were just doing random stuff. Like there wasn't like a real clear plot. It's just Fred trying to enjoy his Sunday. Then you got Barney making the machine, but which Fred tries to use it and he gets hurt, which then just leads to them having to avoid the opera. Like, it feels like it's like, yeah, sure, they still do use the flyer even in the second half, but I don't know. It felt very disconnected to me. Should have had a more consistent. I wish I had a more consistent plot. I know I love Family Guy, and Family Guy does that too. But Family Guy's funny. That's the difference. I'm sorry for sounding like a jerk. But yeah, not a great start. Episode 2, Hot Lips. Okay, I don't even know how to say this. Hannigan? Hot Lips Hannigan? I'm just going to be calling it that. Fred tries to come up with an act for the Loyal Order of Dinosaurs and tries to sing, but it doesn't go well. He then jumps on Barney's trampoline and uses it to show up on Wilma's workplace, but it goes horribly. So Fred tries to be a magician and thinks he left him and Barney's wife invisible, so they can go to the Hot Lips Hannigan. At the place, Fred meets an old high school friend and they rock the place. In terms of favorite moments, Wilma, Fred's wife, using a frying pan on Fred. Wow, you could tell this was the 1960s. That's when the show was made. You could not get away with that like nowadays. That's oh wow. I also really liked how the wives only pretended to make them think they're invisible. Really, I think the first half of the episode's kind of weak. Honestly, I didn't really care for that stuff as much. When it turns into Fred and Barney thinking the wives are invisible, it almost becomes a good episode. If the first half was stronger, I think this could have been a good episode, but still watchable. Definitely better than Flintstone Flyer. Definitely an improvement. Next up, we got episode 3, The Swimming Pool. Fred and Barney get in a fight, but it ends when Fred realizes Barney's getting a pool. Eventually, Fred gets annoyed that Barney lets people use his pool, so Fred makes a fence. But when Barney makes a cake to celebrate Fred's birthday, they become bros once more. I guess in terms of best moments, there's Barney's spearfishing outfit and Fred walking on the people. Yeah, this is a 2 out of 5. So hey, we got out of the 3 out of 5 episodes. Not in a good way. If a 3 is just a mid episode, a 2 is mediocre. I know I already said that in the Family Guy one, but some of you guys probably didn't watch the Family Guy one. So, sorry, that's my TV if you could hear that. So yeah, if a 3 is just meh, 2 is just mediocre. Like, I actively do not like this episode. I actually have problems with it. It is so boring. And it's just Fred being annoyed at Barney, which isn't really that entertaining or funny. It's just boring. It's boring. I don't know what else to add really, other than it's mediocre and it is wow. After the last episode was almost good, I thought, hey, maybe these episodes are gonna get better. But then we just came with this one, and I'm just like, jeez. Like, I get it. I feel like something people are going to try to use as a defense is that, this show was made in the 60s. It was a different time. Maybe, but that doesn't excuse the fact that I really didn't like this episode. Like, I'm reviewing this in 2025. I'm not trying to, have a 1960 mindset. This is just straight up my opinion of these episodes. Do they hold up? Are they good? And this one, if the first two, I didn't even like the first 2 episodes, so I don't even think they held up. But geez, mediocre episode. Next up is I don't need to say season 1. I think I did that in the Family Guy one. I'm just gonna say the episode. Episode 4, No Help Wanted. Fred tries to get Barney a raise, but accidentally gets him fired. Fred tries to get Barney a job by playing golf with someone in the business. It works, and Barney works for Rocky Stone Inc., but has to go against Fred. In terms of good moments, I liked Dino greeting Fred. Dino being Fred and Wilma's pet dinosaur. What, they're cavemen, it's expected. You I also found the ball in Fred's eye to be pretty funny as well. This is the first good one. It's a 4 out of 5. I was impressed, especially by how mediocre last episode was. I really thought we weren't going to get much good, but nah. There's turned out to be an actually good one. Now, it's still not anything amazing per se. Like, I'm not loving this one. But for what it's worth, I think this is a good episode. It's solid. I really don't have much else to add, honestly. And that's really all I gotta say. That's all I really gotta say. It's a good episode. I like it, and it's the first episode. It's the first one that holds up. I think it's still enjoyable even now. Season 1, Episode 5, The Split Personality. Fred hits his head, but after the doctor checks him out, Fred wakes up with a whole new attitude. The women love it, but Barney hates it. Wilma starts to grow annoyed with him as well and misses the old Fred. In terms of good moments, there's Fred working on the car. Then there's the doctor character in general who I really liked. Then there's also Betty getting flattered by Frederick, not Fred. Big difference. And you also got to have the kids overhearing the Rubbles when Barney has to talk about his love for Betty because Betty kind of made him. This is a really good episode. It's still a 4, but if it was funnier, like if there were more jokes in it, this could have maybe been a 5. Now, this is a common sitcom trope, but it's one I rather enjoy. I like when they take a character and it's like they have this whole different personality for the episode. Let's just see what type of fun we can have with that. It's rarely like I know there are certain tropes that people can either like or get annoyed by, but this is one that I like. This is one that I enjoy, and I thought it was a good episode. Definitely my favorite so far. Just it was really entertaining. It was nice to see a whole new side of Fred, and it was also nice to see the characters prove that they like each other because up to this point, Wilma and Fred have not been the best couple. So seeing an episode that actually shows that yeah, Wilma does love Fred, not Frederick. Frederick was such a square. Like I really, no one be wanting Frederick around at the club. No one vibing with Frederick. We don't like Frederick. We hate Frederick. We want Frederick to do bad things. We don't want Frederick. Could you tell him on live? Could you tell him like trying to be more random? This is how people are. This is how people get invested in videos, right? Me stuttering and just randomly explaining plots to a 60 series. Hey man, though, this won the poll. People want me to talk about this. Alright, next up is Season 1, Episode 6, Monster from the Tar Pits. A movie is getting filmed in Bedrock and the wives decide to join. So Barney decides to watch the auditioners, but Fred secretly watches them and goes in only to join the movie as the monster. This is a 3 out of 5. Weakest episode so far, unfortunately. I don't have much to say. I really didn't like this one. It was almost a 2, honestly. It was mostly just really boring until it picked up a bit towards the end when Fred got in the movie, but still. Don't recommend. Not a good episode. I think it just I'm not quite annoyed with it like I am with the swimming pool one. Hence why I think it's still only a 3. Episode 7, The Babysitters. Barney gets tickets to tonight's fight, and he and Fred plan to go. However, the wives make them babysit, but when they can't watch the fight on TV, they go to Joe Rockhead's house to see it. Joe Rockhead is a random friend of Fred. He has a lot of those for whatever reason. As for the episode, it's another 3. Okay, I'm going to start seriously speeding up these reviews since I still have over 20 left. If you didn't check the description for this is a 28 episode season. So yeah, I'm going to pick up the pace. Episode was kind of mid. Episode was pretty mid. Best moments was the screen shaking was just the screen, not any, like a TV screen or anything, but the animation itself, the shaking when Fred through the face. And also, Wilma being lovey-dovey to Fred was funny simply because it was a change to the usual dynamic, and it got me off guard. I liked that. Episode 8, At the Races. Fred and Barney try to get $50 so they can bet on the dino races, so they can get Dan's business. Don't have much to say. 4 out of 5. Another good episode, thankfully. Very entertaining. Decently, I shouldn't say very, because it's the good. It's in the category of good without being anything special. I enjoy it well enough. Wilma's mood swing, Barney's story about Fred, Barney trying to act out the story and Wilma not buying it. It's good. I enjoy it. Episode 9, The Engagement Ring. Barney buys a ring for Betty and gives it to Fred so she won't see it. After trying and failing to keep it in the flower, Fred keeps it in the bowling ball, but Wilma sees it and thinks it's for her. Barney fights the boxing champ so he can get another ring. I really like this episode. If okay, so far as you can tell, I've not been loving Flintstones, but this one was impressive. I really liked this one. It's one of the funnier episodes, I think. Like, it's still not amazing as a whole. I sadly cannot say I've been loving Flintstones, like its comedy, but this one was decently funny. But the real reason I like it is because of how emotional it is. This and Split Personality, the best episodes are the ones that try to focus more on like the characters and like the relationships. Like it's nice. I actually just because it's a comedy doesn't mean that the characters have to hate each other. It all just have to be about how much you hate the characters, how much they hate each other. Flintstones isn't as bad as some other shows, but it's still not great. So getting an episode like this is really nice. This is a pretty good episode. I definitely recommend this one. Episode 10, Holly Rock, Here I Come. Come. Wilma and Betty win a slogan contest, so they go to Holly Rock while Fred and Barney have the week to themselves. But the guys soon miss them and go to Holly Rock. Meanwhile, Wilma gets in a televised play that Fred ends up joining before losing his voice. Okay, so this is another good one. We're getting some good, 3 good in a row. I'm happy to see it. For what it's worth, this is a solid episode about the wives going away. I haven't really talked much about the characters, so I should probably get into them. Even though I'm not loving a lot of these episodes, I do have to admit, I do like the characters. Half of them, I mean. Fred and Barney are good. Fred is a jerk, but he's kind of a lovable one, and you could tell he means well. And Barney's like a good sidekick to him. It's more so Wilma and Betty I'm not as into. Before you call me sexist, remember, like I don't hate them just because they're women. So geez, Ugh, fellas, kind of, hmm. No, I just don't like them because I don't know. They come off as very similar. Well, they're just naggy. One of the problems, like I think wife characters have in shows, is that they always come off as so naggy and annoying, and it feels like they try. I get that you need to have a normal one, but at some point it just becomes annoying. Like, geez, like wow, I do not need all that. Anyway, as for the episode, again, it's good. I know that sounded very negative, but now I have to immediately do a complete 180 and say that this is a good episode. And I actually liked them. An episode starring the wives ended up being good. And it was nice to see Fred and Barney also go to Holly Rock so they can see them again. It's nice. Episode 11, The Golf Champion. Fred's in a golf competition and wins. However, Barney takes Fred's trophy. We get told a story about Barney being the president of the Loyal Order of Dinosaurs, and he takes the trophy because Fred is late on his dues, causing a breaking point on their bromance. Oh my god. Anyway, this is a 3 out of 5. If I'm being real, this episode is just a better version of the swimming pool. Both of them are about Fred being really upset at Barney, but I think this one's better because they both are mad at each other. This ain't a. My apologies, folks. My connection was breaking. But yeah, this one, I think this one works better because the two of them both hate each other instead of swimming pool, where Fred's just kind of comes off like a jerk. Not a livable one like I just described, but just kind of annoying. This one thankfully fixes that, with a still not good, still only a 3, but it's not bad. One moment I specifically loved was Barney's line of when when Betty's like, "Oh, but what if Fred catches you?" Barney's like, "I'm too fast and he's too fat." Like, come on, that's funny, Well, it doesn't sound funny when I say it, but trust me, trust me on this one, bro. Well, episode 12, the sweepstakes ticket. Fred gets a lottery ticket and splits it with Barney, and he hides it. But Wilma and Betty get their own ticket and hide it. The guys think the girls know about their ticket and try to get it from some hobo. After they get it again, Barney hides it in a different place, only for Fred to take the ticket. Only it's the girls' ticket. I don't know. This is another one I really didn't care for. It's a 2. Not as bad as Swimming Pool, but still a mediocre episode. You want to know the problem? You really want to know? It just reuses elements from other episodes. There's the secret thing from Engagement Ring, and the whole having to keep it a secret from the wives thing from At the Races. Also the hiding. Like, really, it's just a worse version of those ones. Those were good episodes. This is a mediocre take on them. Just don't even bother. I think it's the fact that you reuse stuff that really made me comfortable giving it a 2. Because you really are just seeing the same points just being redone. Almost kind of like how this is just being a redone statement. So I'm just going to move on. I'm putting little party things in the chat because no one's in this live. Can you tell this is only my 3rd video? No one's gonna watch this video, but I don't care. At this point, this stuff is just for fun. Episode 13, The Drive-In. Fred and Barney are tired of their jobs, so they try to open a restaurant, only to be forced to get a drive-in instead. 2 exes talk to them in an attempt to get their jobs back, which just causes trouble with the wives. After the wives realize their business, they make them get their old jobs back. 3, just boring. Again, I still have a little over half left. I'm just going to say it's boring and move on. I do not care enough to go more in depth about this episode. It is not great. Episode 14, The Prowler. Okay, this one's weird. It starts with a weird opening about... it has a whole opening all about how this was made at a different time. And I was like, this is a Flintstones episode. What is so bad that they have to put that? They have an Asian character in this episode that's like overly like Asian stereotypes. If you're not into that, then newsflash, you're not going to be into this episode. I mean, obviously, I don't agree with it, but I do agree with. All I'm going to say is I'm happy they still have this episode out, despite that. Obviously, this was the 60s. We weren't as culturally like appropriate as we are now. Well, so I don't know. I just I think this stuff needs to be preserved, but then again, I'm a white male, a white straight male. Obviously, I'm automatically the best at knowing these types of things. I'm saying all this because it's more interesting than the episode itself. The story of this one is Betty and Wilma take judo lessons to protect themselves. The judo master is the overly Asian one. Fred gets upset about this and makes a deal with Barney, which makes him disguise as a prowler. Prowler is a way to say robber, by the way. Should have explained that when I read the title. It's a 3. Has a few funny moments, but it's still, like a lot of these episodes, just not that interesting. Okay, I'm just going to speed through these next few because I have like almost nothing to say about them. Episode 15, Girls' Night Out. Fred and Barney take the girls out to the fun house. The girls aren't happy but go anyway. The guys make a record but leave before they can take it. Record gets popular, so Fred gets a whole new look and goes on tour. 3 out of 5. This one was just boring. Very few good moments to make up for it. I was just mostly bored about this one. It's a 3. Arthur queries dance class. Wilma is able to take her and the crew to a dance for free. However, the guys don't want to go because they suck at dancing, so they try to learn. They go to a dance class and be firefighters so they can sneak off from home. This is a 3. This is a generic, they don't want to tell their wives about something. Not really that interesting. Another 3. Once again, not a ton of funny moments. Episode 17, Big Bank Robbery. 2 bank robbers drop loot into Barney's backyard, which makes them believe they're rich. However, the wives make them return it, but they get happy when they hear of a reward. but they get mistaken as the robbers. So the wives try to get the real robbers. This is probably the best one in a bit. It's still not that good. It's only a 3 still, but it just having a more unique plot like this automatically makes it better. Can you tell I'm not really enjoying these episodes? Honestly, I think this I try to get these videos out on a weekly basis, but this one took me like a little over a week, and honestly, I can see why. Not just because I have a life. I know I totally give off the vibe of being someone who goes outside and touches grass. I have like 2, maybe 3 friends that aren't my siblings. I am so rad. Now, but for real though, well, this show just isn't that interesting. There's not much to grab onto. Well, a lot of the plot elements are recycled and reused to the point where it got annoying. Well, as much as I like Fred and Barney, they aren't good enough to make the episodes less boring. So yeah, not a fan of this episode either, and not that entertaining. But it's one of the better ones because at least it was something a bit more different. Like, I'm not hating these, but I'm also just sitting here thinking, why am I watching these? How did this win the poll? King of the Hill, Solar Opposites, Bob's Burgers, like, I served up all of those, and y'all chose this instead? Okay, then. I mean, to be fair, unlike Simpsons or Family Guy, I actually never saw Flintstones before getting into this video, so, this is actually a new thing for me. I also did not realize it was 28 episodes until it already won the poll. So, lesson on me there. Really, at that point, that's just me being an idiot. So, episode 18. My bad. The Snorkosaurus story. Fred goes to the supermarket and gets hit on the head with the meat. To solve his problem, he and the rest of the crew will go hunting outdoors. Good episode. I actually like this one. Okay, so here's a bit of a weird consistency thing I realized. So Dino, the Fred and Wilma's pet dinosaur, he shows up in the intro as Blue, but so far he's barely shown up in the show itself, only the intro and the outro. And in that, he's blue, but when we see him in the show, he's red. And now in this episode, the Snorkosaurus is purple. And by the end of the episode, they name him Dino, but he can talk. Dino never talks. I didn't even have to watch Flintstones to know that. Like, it's so weird. Like, why are they coloring him differently? Who is this Snorkosaurus guy? Because we never see him again. There's random inconsistencies like this, for a while, like Fred and Barney having different jobs and all that. I'm assuming this show is like, I'm not assuming it. I think it pretty much just is that this show is like a Looney Tunes or pretty much just an episode, a very episodic series where the status quo is different from episode to episode. I'm just gonna think it like that so my brain doesn't hurt. Anyways, a good episode. It was entertaining. Seeing Fred and Barney seeing Fred and Barney in the wilderness is a solid enough idea. I don't like that the wives don't do anything when the ants take everything off their picnic, though. But hey, that's like a small problem. I'm straight up nitpicking at that point. I'm supposed to be positive. I try my best to be positive, but I'm not. Episode 19 of The Hot Piano. It's Fred and Wilma's 10th anniversary, and Fred wants to get her a piano, but they have to try and get it in the house without Wilma knowing. I really like this. I like this one. This is another really good episode. And it's another one about romance. I did not realize how that this show and romance went hand in hand. For what it's worth, it's a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed this one. It's fun to see Fred and Wilma just enjoying themselves. Sorry, I'm quickly. Oh my god, I feel like such a lazy. I'm almost 30 minutes in. I am almost 30 minutes in here. I'm a teenager, if you couldn't tell. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. you'd actually get into my reviewer mode. That's a good thing about these lives. I can have more of a, you can give me more of an excuse on why I'm being lazy. But yeah, Hot Piano, really good episode. Nice to see Fred and Wilma's relationship again being considered positively, and there's some good jokes in here as well. Every episode has at least one funny moment, by the way. I just don't think a lot of them are worth mentioning, or I straight up don't remember them, despite it not even being that long ago when I watched them. Really shows the memorability. Episode 20, The Hypnotist. Okay, this is a weird one, and sadly, not a good one after I actually liked the past two. Okay, so the wives watch this show about a hypnotist. Fred's all like, "Oh yeah, I could totally do that," but he ends up turning Barney into a dog. Like, not actually transforming him, but he gives Barney the brain of a dog. It's a weird episode. I don't have much to comment on. I just don't really, this feels like a Family Guy plot, or this feels like a plot of a zany random comedy. This doesn't feel like something with the Flintstones, but at this point, the show's been so repetitive and formulaic, I don't even mind when they do a random plot like this anymore, because it's something different. Episode was somehow barely even funny despite this. You think having one of your main characters think like a dog for an episode wouldn't be so boring, but lo and behold, we got this one. Episode 21, Love Letters on the Rocks. Another love one, that means it has to be good, right? Well, Wilma finds Fred's old love poem from high school, which also gets discovered by the guys, but Fred thinks the poems are from someone else. Meanwhile, Wilma buys Fred his birthday gift and tries to hide it. Sadly, for a romance episode, I didn't like this one. It's a 3. A really boring one here. We get told in the beginning of the episode that Fred wrote it in high school. So the whole episode when Fred's like, "Oh, it's totally someone else," I'm just like, "Dude, you wrote this back in high school." They confirm it by the end, but that does not save it. This is stupid. This is the generic, "Oh, the main character thinks that his partner is cheating on him." Like, even back in the 60s, that had to be a stupid trope, right? I think it would honestly be funnier if we didn't know the conclusion. Sure, it would have been a dumb ending by the end, but it would have been made up for. I'm saying it like as if that would have made the episode good. It probably wouldn't have. I'm just saying it would be slightly better. I really have nothing else to say about this one. I really didn't care for it. It was really boring. Not quite too territory, but man, was this one just boring to sit through. Even more than usual. Speaking of boring, episode 22, The Tycoon. Fred gets confused with a rich guy who looks exactly like him. No, this is when I started to really stop caring about really describing the plots of these episodes because they're so whatever. Remember back in Split Personality when I said I like the character changing for an episode? Well, another thing I like is clone episodes. The apostrophe. I like certain types of clone episodes. The ones where they actually like a clone the main character, I like it. But when it's just another person who's totally different, who just so happens to look like the main character, I snooze off. I don't like those types of episodes. They're usually boring. Like that Garfield movie about it, or the Phineas and Ferb episode about it, or the Simpsons episode about it, and now the Flintstones episode. Sadly, this is a 2 out of 5. Not as bad as the other 2s, but again, one of the most boring episodes of anything I think I've ever seen. My God, this is the first episode where there's only like one good moment. I was scared for a second. This would be the first episode where I put nothing for favorite moments. I really was getting worried here, guys. Episode 23, The Astronauts. Barney drives Fred to his physical, but they get the wrong address and end up joining the army. While in the army, they get involved in a space project. 3 out of 5. Fred and Barney joining the army made for an okay but underwhelming episode. I didn't care for it. Episode 24, The Long, Long Weekend. The Flintstones and Rubbles go to a hotel for the weekend, owned by Fred's old friend Gus. However, Gus is self-centered and tries to get them to work for him. This one's a 3, but it's on the higher end. This is easily one of the better episodes, which I know isn't saying much because if you couldn't tell, I'm not that positive on the season, but this was a watchable one. Gus was an alright villain, even if the ending seemed very rushed, but whatever. It's still watchable, and it's an okay episode. I was able to get through it okay. Episode 25, In the Dough. The wives compete in a cooking competition, but they both get the measles, so the guys go instead dressed as women. Again, if you care about like trans rights and all that, I can see this episode being considered offensive, but I really don't care enough to get into that. I'm just pointing that out so that way if you ever try to watch this one on your own, then you understand the context. Episodes of 3 out of 5, by the way, it's another watchable one. So thankfully, these two have both been very watchable. If they're not going to get good, it's at least watchable, which is better than it just being boring like a lot of these. Even if it does get the same rating, which I don't think best conveys it, but whatever. And there was another 3 out of 5. It was another watchable one. Speaking of watchable, episode 26, The Good Scout. Barney is a substitute Boy Scout, so Fred jumps in and helps him out with the camping. This wasn't as good as the other camping one, the Snorkosaurus episode, but it was still watchable. Not as good as the last two episodes, but still, come on, man. A lot of these haven't been that good. I can handle another meh one. Episode 27, Rooms for Rent. The Crew's in debt. By crew, you have to know I mean Flintstones and Rebels, right? So they offer their rooms to college students for cash. This was actually a really good one. I did not expect another really good one by the end of the season, but this one surprised me. The two college kids were good. I liked seeing Fred and Barney just hate them, wanting to hit them, grabbing their throats. Like, geez. It's so dark, but I actually really like it. This is a pretty good episode. Alrighty, do we end off on anything good? Season 1, episode 28, Fred Flintstone's before and after. Come on now. In this one, Fred is used in an ad as the before guy in a before and after commercial. He gets upset about this, so he tries to lose weight to get some money off of them, but needs help from a group called Foods Anonymous. This is another one where I think the first half is kind of meh, but the second half is actually pretty good. Because it's actually at the very top of the 3 out of 5 episodes. And that's all she wrote. That's all 28 Flintstones episodes. Since you sadly can't see my ranking, I'm probably going to post it in the comments, like with a copy and paste from the Google Doc. But if you don't care to read the comments, then here they are. At bottom of the list, the 3 2 out of 5s, we have the swimming pool, the sweepstakes ticket, and the tycoon. Those are the real mediocre ones. Then we have the 3 out of 5s, which are most of the season. Monster from the Tar Pits, The Drive-In, Love Letters on the Rocks, The Girls' Night Out, The Hypnotist, The Babysitters, The Astronauts, Arthur Query's Dance Class, Flintstone Flyer, Good Scout, Prowler, Golf Champion, Big Bank Robbery, In the Dough, The Long, Long Weekend. And here's the top 10. Note that numbers 10 and 9 are still 3s. If in your top 10 in a 28 episode season you still have not good episodes in there, I think that proves how not good your season is. Still, we got Hot Lips Hannigan, Fred Flintstone's before and after. These are both on the higher end because I actually liked their second halves. For the good ones, we got At the Races, Snorkosaurus Story, No Help Wanted. And then for the top 5, we got Rooms for Rent, Holly Rock Here I Come, Hot Piano, Split Personality, and Engagement Ring is my number 1. Not gonna lie, guys, this was rough. It was so difficult to get into these episodes, or to get through all of them. At the end of the day, Flintstones Season 1 is a season I respect more than I actually liked watching. For being the first adult animated comedy, like an adult series, especially made for adults in prime time, I respect it. I know it wasn't tough. I'm pretty sure it barely even got made, honestly. Watch Dave Lee Down Under's video about it, by the way. He did a whole Flintstones video. It's for a long time, it's how I knew Flintstones. It's pretty good. The video is pretty good. Season 1, sadly, was not. For what it's worth, I found it watchable, but I think it's because it was 28 episodes. It got really annoying. I seriously apologize. I didn't go into a lot of depth with some of these, but after a while, I felt like I was just watching the same things over and over. I like the characters. I like the characters well enough. It's really just the situation. It's really just the fact it was the same plot lines. It really bothered me. It made me really like the episode like way less. And by episode, I did mean season. That was another time. I'm me not good at speaking English. So yeah, Flintstone season 1 was not good. They had a couple good episodes in there, but sadly most of it I can't recommend. Because of that, it's going to take me a long time before I get into season 2, which is a whopping 32 episodes. I don't know, Flintstones fans, do you guys like season 1? I think the first 2 seasons are considered like the best ones because that's before the kids, but like, come on, really? I just sat through season 1 and it's like really not that good. Y'all must really be. Hopefully, season 2 with its whopping 32 episodes does get better, but don't expect me to get through that one anytime soon. Now, to be fair, I'm still happy I watched Flintstone season 1. I'm happy I got the historical context. Hey, this was the first adult animated series. As much as The Simpsons is my favorite show, it was clearly you needed the Flintstones before you get The Simpsons, before you get any of the other adult animated comedies that you really love and want. So because of that, I definitely respect you, Flintstone season 1, but I can't say I enjoyed watching ya. And I'm honestly happy to watch something else, and then be able to review it, which I'll hopefully be more positive on. Also, what about Jetsons? I don't know. I'm a bit worried to get into Jetsons season 1. I'm definitely going to check before putting it on the poll if I ever decide to do that. But yeah, that one might be fun. Thanks for watching. No one was on my stream. 100% done for getting through my first stream. It's over 40 minutes. The video's over 40 minutes. No one came up to my stream. No one's going to be watching this video. No one cares about my content. I sat through 28 episodes for nothing. Why did the people in the poll love torturing me? Let me know your thoughts on Flintstone season 1. If there's anything you want me to elaborate on or whatnot, please let me know. Thanks for watching.